Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. We have a few folks that are continuing to join. I'm Jeff Hendrickson. I'm the Web Content Manager in University Marketing Communications, and I help facilitate Web Council. And this month I'm promoting Cherry Blossoms because we're just a few weeks out. I've heard they're slightly delayed due to the cold weather, but we do have a new Cherry Blossoms website. So if you go to uw.edu/cherry blossoms, you can see a tracker and a whole bunch of cherry blossoms content and information for visitors coming to campus. And Tom is here as well, promoting Husky Giving Day. And so he'll have a presentation later on talking about all the kind of overview of Giving Day and the different tools that are available. So, but first we'll turn it over to Tom to give us our word on the street to get us started. So Tom, over to you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy March. Somewhat cold and snowy start to our March, but happy to be here and definitely looking forward to those cherry blossoms and spring and all the great things that come this time of year. We're going to get started as we always do with our land acknowledgement. The University of Washington acknowledges the Coast Salish peoples of this land, the land which touches the shared waters of all tribes and bands within the Suquamish, Tulalip, and Muckleshoot nations. I also acknowledge and honor the tribal nations across Washington State and the many indigenous people from across the country who live and work in Seattle and the surrounding areas. As Jeff said, we've got a great agenda for you. Jeannie Marty will be up next with a security short, and then we'll be talking about all things Husky Giving Day today and get you all ready for the big day on April 6th, which you'll hear me say over and over and over again, April 6th. But before we do, let's dive in and talk about our communities of practice. Our friends at the WordPress community will meet today at 10 a.m. They're going to be doing some future planning exercises, and I will get the Zoom link posted in chat so you can join. Our friends at Drupal will not be meeting this month, but we'll meet next month on April 6th at 10 a.m. And Will be by to talk about all the work he's doing customizing the CK Editor 5 in Drupal. So that'll be a great talk, and always love hearing from Will. Front End Tech will meet on the 21st at 2 p.m. As many of you know, they've been doing study groups on React. And so they'll be sharing their experiences from doing that and talking about any future groups that they might want to do. So that'll be a great time for you to jump in and find out more about those groups. UX and Design Thinking, I don't have a date for their next meeting, but I did want to highlight their site on the wiki. So jump over there, take a look, and you can get more information there. Our usual plug for the monthly accessibility and usability meetup with our good friend Hadi. Those are the second Thursdays at 10 a.m. And he'll post to our mailing list what the topics are for this coming month. Yeah, a number of jobs open around the UW. Just as a reminder, if you go to uw.edu/jobs, you click search for jobs and you enter that 6-digit number you see at the end, you'll go right to the job posting for the job that you're interested in. Please feel free to share these with your network, pass them along to anyone who you think would be interested in them or would love to work at the UW. Lots of great opportunities from all across the U, including medicine. So tons of opportunities here for folks to come and join a wonderful team here at the UW. A couple of Seattle area meetups to talk about this month. Ada's book club will be talking about design for kids, digital products for playing and learning. That could be a really cool talk. That'll be April 6th from 7 to 8. Ladies at UX will be meeting on this coming Tuesday, the 7th. Topic will be Aesop's Fables and UX, Stories of a UX Pro. New Tech Seattle has a special community that they're running this month for those who are neurodiverse or have ADHD. They've already had their first meeting. Their second meeting will be responding to your diagnosis on the 7th at noon. Then they'll have their regular monthly meetup on the 9th at 5. And then the community will meet again on the 21st at noon to talk about goal setting and productivity hacks. North Seattle Tech Talks will be hosting an introduction to cloud computing with AWS. That'll be Monday the 10th at 5:30. That could be a great opportunity for those of you who are new to AWS, or if you are just curious about AWS, great opportunity to learn a little bit more about the basics and the fundamentals there. And then just my usual plug for the Drupal, JS, and WordPress area users groups, great opportunities to meet folks outside the UW, learn a little bit more about what's going on in the area. A couple conferences, actually not a couple, a lot of conferences. Of course, South by Southwest, a perennial favorite of folks, starting up next week, actually. Hard to believe already. Social Media Marketing World will be in San Diego the week after. Good opportunity to talk about all things social media. CSUN, which I know a number of folks enjoy going to in Anaheim, will also be on the 13th through the 17th. And virtually right after that, I guess during that really, will be AxeCon. Adobe Summit will be the week after. That'll be in Las Vegas, but there are some virtual components to it. So if you want to tune into certain parts, you definitely will have an opportunity to do that. The High Ed Web Analytics Summit will be on April 25th, and that will be virtual again this year, so not an in-person meeting there. Women in Tech Regatta will be here in Seattle from the 26th of April through the 3rd of May. Confab will be in Minneapolis this year from April 30th through May 3rd. Sadly, this will be the last Confab. The folks who organize it have, I guess, come to a conclusion that's probably reached the end of its life, and they are going to be looking for new and interesting ways to bring the community together. If you've attended a Confab before, I went to one several years ago. They're great conferences, so it'll be really sad to see this go. But I'm really looking forward to what the organizers will come up with for a future conference. Whoops, wrong direction there. Convey UX will be virtual May 2nd through May 4th. Great opportunity for those of you who are in the user experience field. The Digital Marketing Conference, the Pacific Northwest chapter, will be meeting May 11th and 12th here in Seattle. I do also think there might be a virtual component to this as well. Stanford will be hosting their web camp on the same days down in Stanford, California. UXDX will be meeting in New York on May 16th and through the 18th, and also virtually. So if that's a conference you'd like to attend, there'll be a virtual component to that. This was one that one of the members of Web Council submitted, the Social Media Strategy Summit. I did notice there were two flavors of it, one specifically for public agencies and government, which I think we might qualify for. That would be May 17th and 18th, and that will be virtual. There'll be another one that you'll see in a few minutes in June that is more broad for everyone to attend. GeekWire Awards will be the Thursday, May 18th here in Seattle. And Smashing Conf will be back in San Francisco, 23rd through the 26th. DrupalCon, which I know a number of folks enjoy going to, June 5th through June 8th in Pittsburgh. And then this is the other social media strategy summit that I was referring to. This is the general one, which is also virtual again this year, 13th through the 16th of June. So if you do anything with social media, this could be another great opportunity to network with folks. Product and Marketing Summit also in June here in Seattle. Marketing Analytics Summit in Las Vegas in June. And I guess that is it. I want to take a quick moment to follow up on Google Analytics 4. If you all were here with us in January, you saw Nico's presentation. Well, Nico's been really busy since he met with us last, and he has pulled together an entire YouTube playlist full of videos on various different topics around Google Analytics 4. He also is building out a number of videos on reporting, and specifically reporting using Looker Studio, which formerly known as Data Studio. So I will get this link in chat for you all. Please take a look. There's I've watched several of them so far. It's been an absolutely great series so far. So he's got a number of videos up there covering a whole wide variety of topics. So please definitely check it out, and I'll get that link in chat. Couple product updates for you from the web development team. Storytelling modules has been updated to version 1.8, and the big features in this release all have to do with adding charts to your stories. And so they've got a couple of different options there for charting, as well as a short code for placement in the story. Also, tons of other updates there, and you can see those in the changelog. Head on over to our GitHub, github.com/uweb, for more and get that latest version. Also, the UW WordPress theme has been updated to 2.2.0. A couple of major changes there are enabling a feature to display images on posts and blog listings, removed unused mobile menu templates, updated our iframe allow list, lots and lots and lots and lots of bug fixes. Again, changelog is your best friend there. So head on over to the to our GitHub rather, and check that out and get that latest version. Our theme for March is innovation mindset. So we are looking for stories around the hashtag UW Innovates. A bunch of strategic considerations for you this month. Starting literally yesterday, we are sending offers of admission out, and yesterday started with the Presidential Scholars, and we have nominated 14 students across the state to receive a presidential scholarship. And this, if you haven't heard about these are really amazing opportunities for our students. But we actually go work with the counselors in the high school. We surprise the students usually during their class day. And there's usually a really nice packet that goes with it. This year, it's a beautiful wood box with a notebook and a letter from Anamari and a lot of fanfare that goes along with it. So we really hope they accept the scholarship. They'll have until obviously decision day in May to do that. But those have gone out starting yesterday, today, tomorrow. And then slowly the full list of admission offers will be sent up and through, I think, mid-March. So keep that in mind. Of course, winter quarter is ending just next week, and then final exams start after that with spring break to follow. And then the spring quarter starts at the end of the month. So lots of considerations for you, but please do send us those stories about how the UW Innovates, add the hashtag UW Innovates to your stories. We'd love to promote the work that you're doing in your units. I am going to keep this slide in. We talked a little bit about this last month, but I'm going to keep a reduced version of this slide in going forward, just so you all will have it every month. But additional resources that you can use to help plan out your editorial calendars, the content that you're putting up on your websites, and things to be aware of going on, not just in Seattle, but all around. And that is it for this month's Word on the Street. Our next meeting will be on Husky Giving Day, April 6th at 9 a.m. And you'll hear the agenda the week before the meeting. And that is it from me. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn things back over to Jeff.
Thank you, Tom. And be sure to visit the Web Council website at uw.edu/webcouncil for all the related slides. And we'll get some links posted in the chat as well. So next up, we have Jeannie Marty from the Office of the CISO, and she's going to be giving us a security short on GitHub repository security.
Great, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so today I'm going to just double check you can see my screen okay. Great, thanks. Today I'm doing our web security short. It's part 2 of an occasional series that we're doing on securing your GitHub code repository. In the last session, we went over Git, GitHub, and UW GitHub Enterprise. We went over why to secure repositories and managing access in GitHub and UW GitHub. And if you're interested in refreshing your memory on that or taking a look, there's a link here for the slides. And I think Peter, we're going to add it to the chat as well.
Just did.
Oh, excellent. Thanks, Pete. Future topics, we're going to look at repository security policies, code scanning, secret scanning, and also maybe other tools that GitHub may come up by then. They're adding things all the time. So always something new to look at. But today we're going to focus on dependency management. We'll walk through how to set it up in GitHub. And specifically, then we're going to look at dependency graph, Dependabot alerts, security and version updates, and dependency review. So dependency management. Let's start with defining some terms. Software dependency, what is that? It can be a plugin, a library, a package, or a custom module that your application uses to run successfully. There are direct dependencies. Those are ones that your code calls directly, as the name implies. Transitive dependencies are dependencies that your dependencies call. So dependency management, what is that? For this purposes of this presentation, it's tools that can be used to monitor and update your software dependencies. So why would you want to do this? From a security point of view, each dependency has the potential to have a security vulnerability, and keeping on top of security updates and responding quickly can keep your application more secure. So how do they become vulnerable? A few examples. A contributor, a bad actor may become a contributor to a library or a package and add malicious code. A legitimate contributor could have their account taken over and malicious code added. Bad actor may create their own package with a similar name to a very popular package, and through different mechanisms, it's maybe easy for a developer to unwittingly download that package. So let's look at how vulnerability might work through the software supply chain. So we'll start with your source code, and your source code may build out an app, and that is used by your users. Well, when you work on your source code, you're bringing in direct dependencies, and then and those dependencies bring in transitive dependencies. So just imagine a transitive dependency is compromised. Maybe that some bad actor has taken over a contributor's account and added malicious code to the dependency. Well, that will fall into the direct dependency that's calling it. It may have impact on your source code, on the app you build out, and ultimately on your users. And there's several different ways that software supply chain dependency can happen within supply chain vulnerability can happen with dependencies. This is just kind of one possible route. The article that I have here goes into a couple other examples, real life examples that are pretty interesting. Okay, so why am I talking about GitHub? Mainly because UWIT does provide a UW GitHub service, and GitHub is just a popular repository host anyway. So it's just good to know the tools that they have available. The GitHub dependency management covers several language ecosystems, including NPM for Node, Pip for Python, Composer for PHP. So that's one advantage. However, there are many tools for dependency management that can be used, notably OWASP Dependency Checker, NPM Audit, etc. So this presentation is an attempt to compare those, just to look at what GitHub has in this realm. So why not monitor and update yourself? Well, modern projects can easily have thousands of dependencies. And I'm going to pick on Create React App a little bit. It's an application I use. I have no hesitation to use it. It's well maintained. It's basically, it gives you build tools to put together a React project. but it can add over 1,000 direct and transitive dependencies to your project. And one developer just can't track all of those. And just to give you a little visual, this is there's several applications out there that can kind of map out dependencies of different packages. And so we're not looking at a galaxy I just discovered. This is the Create React app, and it's the main node, and then it's pointing to its direct dependencies, and then multiple nodes of transitive dependencies here, and it doesn't even cover the whole number. So how do you set this up in GitHub? So if you're in GitHub, you're looking at your repository. On top of the main menu, there's you go to settings, code security and analysis. You might want to review the statement about if you enable these tools, you grant them GitHub permission to perform read-only analysis on your repository. I did check in with the service owners for UW GitHub, and they've reviewed this functionality and consider it safe. But if you have any questions about your particular repository, feel free to contact them at help@uw.edu. And then you choose the tool that you want to enable and or configure, depending on what the requirements are. And once you enable them, where will you find them? On your repository, under the Insights button, you'll find the dependency graph. On the Security tab, you'll see the Dependabot alerts list. And then on the pull request, that's where you'll see requests from Dependabot for security updates or version updates if you have that in place. Okay, so just to get quickly into the specifics of each of these tools, first, you want to know what dependencies you have, and that's where dependency graph comes in. It's a summary of your dependency, the ecosystems and packages it depends on. It's derived from your particular manifest and lock files, like your package.json in NPM or the pip or yarn manifest files. It also lists any apps dependent on your repository in case your particular app happens to be a tool for other apps. And this is a view of it. It's basically just a list of your dependencies. Right here, we're looking at a package lock.json. This is a Create React app that I set up just to get screenshots. And this shows it just starts in alphabetical order of the dependencies you have. It's not searchable, but it doesn't show all 1,000 at once. You can look through them 10 or 15 at a time. So things to know about dependency graph for public repositories: it's automatically generated. Anyone can view. So if you're interested in a tool and you want to know what dependencies they have, it's a quick way to view that. For private repositories, it has to be manually enabled, and the view is restricted to certain roles, but any member can be added to the view list. So Dependabot alerts. So first, what's a Dependabot? It's GitHub's automatic tool used to find and fix vulnerable dependencies in a repository. So the alerts report existing dependency vulnerabilities. When it's enabled, they're displayed on the Security tab and also in the dependency graph. Even though I showed you mainly where you can find these tools, they can be viewed in several places. It's available for public or private repos, but it has to be manually enabled to be set at a repository or an organization level if you have control over your UW GitHub organization. It can be enabled by default for new repositories. So this is a view looking through the Security tab, and here it's listing the vulnerabilities by the vulnerability, and then in small print, it shows the package that it's affecting. By default, it lists it in order of severity, but there are filters or sorting mechanisms to look at it in different ways. And then back on that dependency graph view, the nice thing here, even though I said it didn't have a search option, if you do have Dependabot alerts, it will bubble up any of those packages that are affected. So while the last one was viewing it by the vulnerability, actual vulnerability, this one views it by the packages that are affected. Okay, so Dependabot updates, there's two types. There's security and version. First, security. These are automatic pull requests to your default branch, like main. It's triggered by a Dependabot alert. It only updates to the minimum version that resolves a known vulnerability. And it allows you to apply security updates quickly to your project. But again, with any of these automatic processes, to avoid breakage, you want to follow your testing process before merging. And then this is just a view within the pull request list. These have all been automatically generated by Dependabot. And you can, like any pull request, you can go in for more information, look at diffs and that type of thing. So version updates, this one's a little more complex. It automatically creates pull requests to update dependency to the latest version, even if there's not a vulnerability. So it can make your process a little easier for updating versions, but you really want to think through your version update strategy before implementing automatic updates for versions. If you do it too quickly, it could have security and non-security implications, right? So the non-security implications are, you could break your site. The security implications are you may unwittingly download a package that a malicious actor has just exploited. And it's not known in the community. So there are some recommendations of wait times. Again, this point to this article, 6 steps to protect your software supply chain, that will help you think that through. The version updates within GitHub have a lot of configuration settings so once you decide what your strategy is, you can use those. There's scheduling. You can select only certain dependencies to update. You can designate a target branch like dev for those testings and checks. And again, more reading if you want to go into that deeply, or if you have an automatic process in place and want to review this tool for it. And the last one is dependency review before merging. This one, it allows you to review dependency changes before accepting a pull request from another developer. It reports on which dependencies were added, removed, or updated, and it includes vulnerability data for the dependencies. It's available in all public repositories and cannot be disabled there. In private repositories, you have to have GitHub Advanced Security. So unfortunately, that's not included in the UW GitHub service. But for those of you that are actively working on public repositories, to see this, you'll get the pull request from the developer. You'll look at the request details. There's a tab for file changes. And within that, any file that's had a change that is a file that manages your dependencies, you'll see that this little paper icon appears. And then with that, it will list out dependencies that have changed. So this developer pushed up code. They've added 3 dependencies here. We could tell by the plus sign, and they've updated 1. then that's the little circle. If they had deleted one, it would be a little red box with a minus sign. All right, and then just for more reading, I point you to this article I did in the last part of this series. It's GitHub's page that is a really good landing page for all these tools. A good place to start for any of those that you're interested in reading more about. So I encourage you to take a look at that. And with that, I will turn it back to Jeff for questions.
Any questions for Jeannie from the group? Can add them to the chat. I'm adding a link to our presentation slides. Sorry, the original link I added had CMS in the link, so disregard that one. I'm adding the link to the live site. So any questions from the audience? If you want to add them to the chat or just unmute yourself. Very interesting, lots of material to go through there. Be sure to check out the presentation slide on the website to go back over it. I know it's a lot of technical things but okay. Well, thank you, Jeannie. Really appreciate you,
you.
bringing this to our group and sharing your expertise. Next up, we're going to turn it back over to Tom, who is our Husky Giving Day ambassador today, and he's got the official Zoom background on. And so we'll over to you, Tom.
Thanks, Jeff. And before I get started, I have two thank yous that I want to make. First is to you all. Presentation today is actually coming directly from feedback from you all. And I really, really appreciate that. We have heard from you all that you'd like to see a little bit more from advancement, whether it's Husky Giving Day or using some of the web-based tools that Advancement makes available. And so we are going to do our best to incorporate a little bit more from our world here. But we are going to start today with Husky Giving Day, which is April 6th. My second thank you is to my colleagues in Annual Philanthropy. Many of those you might actually be working with already on your Husky Giving Day endeavors. They set me up with this beautiful presentation I'm going to give you all today. And I really do thank them for everything they've done to get us the information that you need to be successful. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And of course, a little bit later on in the presentation, you'll see all the folks in Annual Philanthropy and be able to reach them as well. So Husky Giving Day, April 6th. Heard me say that earlier. I'm going to keep saying it throughout this presentation. But I thought we would start off by just asking the most basic question: what is Husky Giving Day? And Husky Giving Day, I think a lot of people think of as being specifically a philanthropy event. And yes, philanthropy is at the core of it, but it's more about the power of our collective action as those of us who love and support the University of Washington, the communities who love and support the University of Washington. This is their day to come together. And it really does celebrate the engagement that our communities have with the UW. Some of the goals that we'll talk a little bit more about today, one of the primary purposes, of course, is to increase donor acquisition and retention. We do look to Husky Giving Day as a marker to increase overall broad-based support. But the day does serve as that moment to really focus on the positive impact that the university has, not just here in Seattle, but all across the state and the region. And this gives folks an opportunity to support those causes and to support those impacts. So keep those points in mind as we talk through the mechanics that go into Husky Giving Day. So what are our goals for this year? Believe it or not, last year we got over 7,000 total gifts, which is unbelievable. It's just an amazing thing to think about. So this year, we set a reach goal for ourselves of 9,000 total gifts, and we actually believe that is a very achievable goal. So something to reach for, but we believe we can do this. You know, all around Husky Giving Day and all leading up to it and during the day and even after the day, This is a large part of digital experiences for donors, alumni, friends, and we're going to use those digital experiences to build on the pride, affinity, nostalgia that they have for the UW. We'll talk a lot about some of the social things that are going on today, or on D-Day rather. And I do want to say thanks to Jacob and Alice and our digital engagement team for working so hard with Elon Musk to get Husky Giving Day as our hashtag for the event. I know that was a lot of hard work to secure that hashtag for us. And then we also want to boost excitement around giving by amplifying the impact that philanthropy does have. And I think a lot of people do forget that, sometimes they look at the UW and think, oh, my gift isn't going to do much. Well, every gift does a lot. And so we're using this platform to be able to get that message across that, you have the power to make positive impact, and you can do that through any sized gift. We'll talk a little bit about our ambassador program. These are the champions of units and colleges and schools and programs across the UW, and how they can help support your efforts on Husky Giving Day. So who are we specifically targeting? Who are our audiences? For those of you who may not have heard the acronym GOLD before, GOLD alumni are always one of our top priorities, and GOLD stands for graduates of the last decade. So these are folks who have graduated within the last 10 years, albeit graduate or undergraduate programs. And this is really a great target audience. The ideas of getting folks to engage in philanthropy early in their or early after they've graduated usually leads towards higher giving throughout their attachment with the UW. We do look at retention segments. So those are folks who have given recently, have given within the last 5 years. Perhaps those in leadership positions, faculty and staff, of course, as well. And then we also look for folks who may not be donors anymore. Maybe they are lapsed or former donors, folks who may not donate as frequently as others. And then, of course, this is our opportunity to talk about the class gift for the class of 2023. And so upcoming graduates, I should say, and their families will be included in this to talk about what that class gift might be. So the timeline for Husky Giving Day, and we break this down into 3 phases. We have just finished phase 1, which started towards the end of 2022 and up until just around now. And that's all around building our strategy for this year. So we set our goals. We work on our creative, which I'll show you in a few minutes. We'll talk about our communications, which we'll also talk about in a few minutes as well. We have toolkits and trainings like this one today, and all kinds of work with units and leadership that all begins usually in October and November of the year up until now. And now we start in phase 2. And this is where we start building out the stories. We identify what challenges we're going to have. Our digital communication suites are built and staged and sent out. We start recruiting our champions, and lots of stewardship going on during this phase. And then slowly throughout the month of March, we will shift over to the 3rd phase, which leads us up to the big day on April 6th. And this is where we start making our donor appeals via traditional mail, email, texting, through ad campaigns and social. So lots and lots of ways that we reach out. Again, we'll talk about that in just a moment. This is where our champions really step up and start getting folks excited and ready. We talk about our challenges and what we're looking for in terms of donations. So that all happens actually starting very, very soon throughout March and then leading up to the big day. So let's talk about that brand identity. And we are focusing around a very simple message. Today, we build a better tomorrow. And so our Husky Giving Day message, as you see, you'll see a couple different variations on this theme, but will all be based around this. You'll notice we have the same, or I should say similar badge to what we've had in years past. Of course, you can see that on my Zoom background, just updated with this year's day. And so there are playbooks that your advancement staff have that have a lot of the branding collateral in them. As you are building out your experiences, whether they are on websites or social or email, head over to our brand portal. We have the Husky Giving Day Toolkit up and available now for you. And of course, you can get this lovely Zoom background there as well. So you can throw it on your Zoom or your Teams or whatever other program you use. For the champions for your unit, we will have the toolkits coming out fairly soon for that. Your advancement staff are already participating in a special Husky Giving Day Teams group. If you would like to join that, the address is right there. You can just go into Teams and search for OGUA Husky Giving Day, and then you'll be able to join that way. Elise and her team are providing a lot of Marketo templates and support and whatnot for this as well. And this year we are using a new platform. It's called Community Funded, and we have a fantastic team at Community Funded who is providing support for us and you all as well as you build out your pages on Community Funded for Husky Giving Day. So we do have a fairly robust communication strategy that we are going to employ for this year's Husky Giving Day. And I've got a couple of examples from last year's Husky Giving Day around the integrated campaigns that we did. And this spans a whole wide variety of channels. So everything from direct mail, some of you may have even received direct mail from us last year, a letter and a card that can be filled out and sent back in, or of course there's the QR code that they can scan and go to a website where they can give. Email solicitations. Email is, as you all, I'm sure, very well aware, one of our best methods for outreach. And so we've got a whole wide variety of email components for this year. Texting, of course, is a very big part, as is our social media campaigns. And then you'll see both print and online advertising this year. So a number of different outlets where you'll see ads directing people to the givingday.uw.edu website. The calendar. So, you know, communications, I guess, have already started in the sense that last week we did letter drops for all donors. But really, they start in earnest this week with our ambassador mailing. So these are reaching out to those champions. We will be sending a whole campaign of emails starting next week. So there is a renewal email to donors and a save the date email to non-donors that will go out. We will be sending postcards to a select group of donors. And then, of course, starting on Sunday, the 12th, the social media and digital ad campaigns begin, and they will run through or up to rather Husky Giving Day. So you'll see those in various places in print or on the web and in your social media feeds and whatnot. Second renewal email goes out 7 days after the first on the 14th. Ambassador communications go out, and then really on that Thursday the 30th is when things start ramping up, and that's when we have our 1 week away, and then the week of Husky Giving Day. You will notice a whole lot of things change. So we'll send out that final email the day before. You'll notice a lot of units will change the avatars on their social media. We'll be posting a lot of things to social media. On right before the big day, you'll notice the homepage will put in the top slot the directions for Husky Giving Day with this wonderful artwork that you're seeing here. We'll also update the giving site so that points to Husky Giving Day as well. Text messages will go out, all kinds of wonderful things. And then there will be a specific set of communications that happen on the day. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Then after the day, this is really, really important. We don't want to just end and disappear. We definitely want to thank everyone who participated in Husky Giving Day. So thank you communications will go out on that Friday. And then there'll be some opportunities for units to continue their stewardship, not just saying thank you to the donors, but also showing the donors the impact of their gifts on Husky Giving Day. And then I think closer towards the end of April, there'll be a final results email that will go out. So folks will know how well we did and the impact of their gift on Husky Giving Day. You've heard me talk a little bit about there being a new platform. It's called Community Funded. We've worked very closely with this company. They have a really, really fantastic application that we're using for this. So there are basically two things to think about. There is the sort of overall landing page that you'll come to givingday.uw.edu. And right now it is just sort of the get ready message. On the big day, it'll turn into the landing page. And then afterwards, it will turn into a thank you message and more of a stewardship message. And then inside of the platform, every unit will have the ability to build out their pages on here where they can talk about the funds that they're soliciting for, get more information out to their donors, and solicit those donations. So really fantastic platform. I've really enjoyed getting to see it, and I think you'll find it very intuitive and very easy to use. I talked a little bit briefly about email templates. Here you go. This is what it looks like. So our friends in Annual Philanthropy have built out this wonderful template that units can use to send to their respective audiences. And they've got tons of support that you can tap into, even editorial guidance if you need it. So you've got lots of great resources through our team. And then they will also share with you all kinds of dates and times of when their mailings are, and they ask that you do the same in returns. So there's sort of an integrated comms calendar. And that way we're being in sync with not just communications that Central sending out, but also your communications as well. And of course, you can target your emails to your specific audiences. Social media, as I mentioned, we've got the hashtag Husky Giving Day. We can start using that right away. And in fact, we're even starting very early in March with some of the very first promotional bits coming out fairly soon. As I mentioned, there are units who will want to make their own profile icons, avatars, etc. We have great collateral for you already in the toolkit that you can use and even use as a baseline. But as a whole going forward, Jacob and Alice and Elise and folks will be monitoring basically all the Husky Giving Day activities. And they will definitely promote you for a lot of the things that you are producing. And, please let us know when you put something out, because we would be very, very happy if we miss it to promote it on your behalf. I wanted to show you a few examples of some things that we did last year. These are just such great opportunities to connect with folks, and social is such a great way of doing it. I love this one in the top left from Bothell with the countdown, 2, 1, 0 days left. I thought that graphic was really cool. A lot of folks make very personal connections. And so we see Erin down there with her beautiful dog. Or we show students working in their fields and in their studies, making more of those personal connections with folks. When there are challenges that come out, being able to get those challenges out to folks, let them know what it is. If we can get 25 gifts of any amount, we'll get an additional $2,000 from a donor. For every so many likes that we get on a post, we'll get $1,000. And so, being able to spread that message around through social is really great. And here's some wonderful examples rather of how those been done last year. And then, of course, I've talked a little bit about thank you. I wanted to show a number of different ways that folks said thank you to their donors. Just all kinds of really great ways where folks have said thank you for the support, whether it was the total amount raised, the number of donors, whatever it might have been. These are just some of the things that we saw last year of units thanking their constituents for everything that they've done. Digital advertising. So as I mentioned, on the 12th, we're going to start our ad campaign. So you will see these banners around a number of different sites. Again, just variations on those things around being able to work together to do something. You'll see different buttons. We'll do some different testing there. So Give Now versus Join Us. And you'll see these on Google, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and then across all different manner of sites where we advertise on. So keep an eye out for these. These will link directly to central resources, but we'll definitely get folks interested in learning more about Giving Day. And then I mentioned there will be a specific set of communications that will occur on the day itself. You know, I already talked a little bit about the homepage and changing up the giving page. There will be a series of emails that go out to audiences based on time zone. So there's going to be 4 primary communications that go out: early morning, which is an all call; late morning, which is an update on donors, dollars, and challenges; early evening to say there's still time to give; and then late evening to say you got a few minutes left, get that gift in so it counts. And then for those who have signed up for texting, there'll be lots of reminders going out through the day. And of course, all the wonderful social media, not just on central accounts, but in your units as well. So lots of great opportunities to rally the community, to get folks excited and get them on board and giving. Last year and again this year, we'll be out on Red Square. And so the Class Gift Council will be out there. The Alumni Association will be out. Annual Philanthropy will be out, all on Red Square. Be lots of great events going on. And why we're out there is really to encourage more student organizations and RSOs to engage and to recognize that this is not just an opportunity for units and colleges and schools and programs, but for them as well. And then we do want to make sure that after the big day, we're saying thank you to folks. So thank you messages will go out on Friday, April 7th to those who have pledged support on Husky Giving Day. As I mentioned, the community funded website will transition to a thank you and stewardship message. And then this is really the big push for social, to say thank you and to get those thank you messages out. After that point, this is where the units kind of take over and talk directly to their donors and talk about the gifts and the impact of those gifts. And then we'll do the final reporting closer to the end of April. And so we'll know the total impact from Husky Giving Day. I mentioned a little bit about champions. And I'm not going to read this entire slide to you. These slides are up on the website, so if you'd like to download them, you can. I also realize we're running out of time and I'll only have a few minutes for questions. But if you are working with your advancement leaders to recruit champions, to find champions, or to get champions inspired, great information here for you that you can get there. We'll also talk a little bit about what champions are asked to do, and it really is not a heck of a lot. You know, it's really about helping to promote Husky Giving Day, to amplify the work of your units and the impact that a donation can make to your units. And then I just wanted to throw up this slide here with all of our friends in Annual Philanthropy. These folks have been fantastic, working very, very hard and diligently over the last several months, and of course, leading up to Husky Giving Day. And really, Husky Giving Day would not be possible without Thomas, Priscilla, Chelsea, Ksenia, Alex, and Josh. And so they're great partners, they're great friends, and we thank them for everything that they're doing for us. Feel free to reach out to them with your questions, with anything that they can do to help. And with that, I'm going to say thank you. And we've got about 6 minutes left for questions. So I'm happy to, I will admit, I'm not a complete Husky Giving Day expert, but I will be happy to try to answer whatever questions you have, or direct you to the right place for those questions. And I'm going to stop sharing.
Any questions from our audience? If you want to add them to the chat or just unmute yourself. And again, the slides are up on the Web Council website, uw.edu/webcouncil, if you would like to download them. And I know there's quite a bit of copy on some of those slides, so and links with contact information. So we have those available. Well, thank you, Tom, for doing double duty today with the Husky Giving Day and Word on the Street. And
My pleasure.
Jeannie Marty, who presented our security short. We will see you on Husky Giving Day in April. And yeah, in the meantime, have a good March and start of spring. Hopeful those cherry blossoms appear sooner than later. And we'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone.